The next group I won't go into much detail because that is also more music related, but you might well be using this. And these are instrument tracks, MIDI tracks, and sampler tracks. Now they are behind the scenes quite similar. The MIDI track is the oldest and the most basic of that, and that is for virtual instruments. But if you create a MIDI track, it's a blank slate. You create that track, there's nothing on it, it doesn't route to anything. You have to manually go load your virtual instruments, patch which channel goes where, how to control that, and that gives you a lot of flexibility, even for external MIDI instruments. Now, an instrument track is basically a MIDI track where you just get to choose your instrument at the time of creating the track, and it creates that link for you already, which is a step easier. But behind the scenes, they really are pretty much the same thing. And again, the sampler track builds on that, but this is not the video to go into that. So I'm just going to create an instrument track to show you. And as you can see, it gives me some already installed virtual instruments that I can choose from. So let's go for a pad shop and just create this one instrument track, and it is thinking about it. There we go. And you can see it's created my pad shop MIDI track. There's the little instrument to show you that it's not an audio track, but it's already opened my instrument here. Now my piano behind me is not plugged in, but if I hit any of these notes with a mouse, very boring, you can see it is automatically patching everything and playing those pitches if you want to score notes. And if you want to see this edit instrument panel, if you go to E, that just gives you your normal track settings. But if you go to the little instrument button there, it's going to reload this guy again. Now, this is not a video on MIDI and MIDI editing. Cubase's MIDI editor is fantastic. You can do amazing sequencing work on there, working with virtual instruments, but that's the topic of a different video. That's your instrument track. And let me just quickly show you, when you add a MIDI track, there's my MIDI track, and it doesn't have any instruments on it yet. You have to go set up the MIDI features. You have to go load virtual instruments, route the MIDI track to that. MIDI tracks used to be the only way to do this. Instrument tracks have greatly simplified that for a quick and easy way to create virtual instruments. Now, the two last very important tracks that I want to show you are effects tracks and group tracks.